Hi PE 552. This is my video response for week 2. So just jumping right into it, the first question says, does the American attitude towards rules that Oryard says can be easily seen in athletic competition also manifest itself in business law and other institutions that search for loopholes and other strategic ways to circumvent rules? Oh, that was a mouthful, sorry. So basically, I think that just reading about the American attitude towards rules on the game of football itself just shows that before the game was primarily more like soccer and rugby, and basically our British ancestors had the attitude of operating on a code of honor, and Americans had a different attitude. They felt that because that they were middle class, then they felt like there was no code of honor to be broken. And so because of that, that's where the contrast is. And so that's where the game had evolved from more soccer and rugby into the traditional football game that we know today. And I think that whether or not this type of attitude manifests itself in business and law and other institutions, I think absolutely. I think that being able to find those loopholes are what get people out of litigations. If we're talking about legal matters, there's loopholes left and right when it comes to those types of situations. In terms of business, I can't really think of an example, but I know that a couple, or in one of my previous classes, we talked about Caster Semenya, who was a runner and in the Olympics, and was accused of taking drugs because she had high levels of testosterone. She had never taken drugs, and so I think that that stirred up a lot of where the rules are, like what the fine line is in terms of testosterone levels and things like that, especially if it was natural for her. It was called hyperandrogenism, where as a female she produces higher levels of androgens, and that could have helped her, it could have not, but I think that stirs the pot as to, okay, what's breaking the rules and what can we get away with and what things like that. The last question was, to what degree does sport reflect society and society reflects sport? I think the degree is very large. I think that there's very few people who are not either personally heavily involved in some type of sport or some type of fan, especially since we're talking about football. Football's, one of the biggest sports, especially in America, and everyone's got a team that they root for, and football season is huge, and I think that the more that society feeds into sports and athletics, then the more that they're going to produce for fans. So that's why you see the NFL just continually just growing and getting bigger and making so much money. Like, there's so much money in the NFL, and it's because fans, are just giving it to them. So I mean it's kind of like supply and demand. I mean, if the demand is there, then they're going to supply it. So obviously, like, people want to see their football games and or any other game for that matter. It's kind of a give and take constantly. So people want to watch, people want, whatever the people want, then the organization is going to give back. So I think that they reflect each other a great deal. And I think that a lot of people involved in sports identify with sports, and it's really like it's in our culture as a society to have sports in our world. And so that is my response. Thanks for watching. Can't wait to hear from all of you.